Part 2 of my Welcome Baby class. Welcome back. I wanted to show you how simple it is to make one of our Nugget boxes. This is one of my absolute favorite go-to dies from Stampin' Up. These little Nugget boxes house 4 Hershey's Nuggets so simply. And we even have a new stamp set called It's a Wrap. There's even a holiday version that's come out in the Holiday Mini. But It's a Wrap is in the main catalog. And that's how I created each of these sweet little nuggets that say Sweet Baby. So I've cut this piece of Whisper White cardstock to 1 inch by 3 inches. And I know a lot of people always worry about, oh, how am I going to line this stamp up just so in there? Well, here's how. I'm actually leaning down and I'm centering it. That I can do pretty close. It doesn't even have to be exact. And I'm getting the rubber right to the edge. And did you notice that I actually mounted the stamp, lined it up square with the bottom of this clear mount block? And there you go. So you get a really simple, not a lot of messing around or having to crop it afterwards. Really easy. And then the last step would be to put, I like to put some adhesive behind the center, the baby, so that I can adhere it, get it in just the right spot, and then wrap around and attach it on the back side. Very, very simple. So let's move on and work on the construction of the Nugget box and some new tips for you. Next, I want to show you how simple it is to create the actual box. Now, one of the things that I think people need to know about the Big Shot is you have to think of them as unique family members. Each one has a little bit different tension, a little bit different sandwich depending on the tension involved. So I think it's really important to accept the fact that each Big Shot's a little bit different. For me, I have to use our extended cutting pad, and then I've got some shims and a piece of cardstock. I've got the Big's XL die here, and then on top I've got our extended premium crease pad. This is critical. Instead of putting the top cutting pad down, you want to use this pad so you can get clean score lines with no cut through. Now, as I mentioned before, each machine is a little different. So you might not need this extra piece of cardstock or a shim, or you can just play around with it, but get it right the first time where it cuts just so, and where it scores just so, and then remember what you use. I just keep it right with my XL pad, so I know what I need to put together each time so that it will cut and look perfect each time. It doesn't change up. You just have to sort of determine the personality of your very own. So look how much happens. I don't know how you can see that in the video, but so much happens. It's cut this perfectly shaped little box in addition to the score lines. And let me show you how simple it is to assemble this. I'm going to start out by quickly scoring, or excuse me, folding in on the score lines. These little guys here on the ends go the opposite way. So again, I'm going to continue and continue. These fold in. Everything folds in except these little guys on the ends. And then you technically do not have to have snail, but I find I have a little cleaner results if I use some snail here and here, and a little sniggle on this end guy, those little taps that go the opposite direction. Okay, this is where the magic begins. You're going to fold it in, and then you're going to push. These are going to go in, and these are going to go underneath. See how those little corners fold in and underneath that end? And I'm going to bring it around, and it's in. It's perfect. Okay, so again, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to fold those corners in. They're perforated, so it's very easy. They're going underneath, and I'm pushing this part down. And with that little extra adhesive, it helps it hold its place really, really quickly. And then the only additional thing I need to do is put on the topper, which I've already cut and scored. Again, using the premium crease pad and the same sandwich that I described a little bit ago. And then I'll just line up the larger tab on top, square with the seam. There's my old grandfather clock. If you listened to my videos before, it goes off on the hour. My husband's grandfather brought it home over from Norway in the 1800s, so it's pretty special. So there's the beginning of our box. Let's move on to the belly band. I'm going to use the Simply Scored scoring tool, one of my favorite new things from Stampin' Up, in order to create the belly band for the box. It's so easy. And actually, one of the really special features about this scoring tool versus others that I've seen is it has groove marks every 1/8 inch. And actually that's really important, especially for this video, because I'm going to need to do some scoring on the 1/8 inch marks. In addition, these place markers allow me to only look at what the measurements are once, and then all I need to focus on is creating the scores. So I'm going to start out at 1 3/8, which I have used the marker, and also 2 1/4, 4 3/8, and 5 1/4. Very, very simple. In addition, I am going to do just a tiny bit of stamping. This is a little tiny stamp. It says It's a Girl. It's also from Little Additions. I'm going to put a little bit of Melon Mambo ink on it and tuck it right up here in the corner. Placement is not critical. And then I am going to wrap it around our box. Make sure I've got the right side up. Okay, just making sure everything was happy and right where it was supposed to be. I'm going to bring this around and I'm going to adhere while it's still on the box. But if you want to get a really good grip, just slide this out and you can give it a really good once over to make sure it's in perfect place. All right, let's work on the tag that's going to go on the Nugget box. I'm going to start out with this cute little block stamp from Little Additions. I like to stamp to the right because it makes it easier when I use my, make sure I get the right one, my 3/4 inch circle punch to be able to pop it out. I find it easier than trying to go over to that side. So it's just sort of how I roll. And then I am grabbing some Pear Pizzazz cardstock, which I am going to pop out in the with the 1 inch circle punch. I have my crocodile. I'm going to pop in just a small little circle, which is where my baker's twine is going to go through. Grab a Stampin' Dimensional. I use Stampin' Dimensionals on almost every single project I do. They're one of my absolute favorite things. So there's our sweet little tag. I can actually line it up square, as long as I've got that little hole back there and a way to thread in my baker's twine. This is such pretty ribbon. This is the Stampin' Up! Dotted Scallop ribbon. This is Melon Mambo. I'm going to wrap it around our box. Holding it square. Bringing this around. You'll notice that I'm actually holding this down and lifting this way to get it to sit square. So it makes a nice little square knot. And then I'll use my ribbon scissors to snip off a little of the extra. And then I'm going to grab the baker's twine, put a little snippet through here, so I can just tie it around the box. This is just I just love playing with the embellishments, don't you? It's just one of my favorite things. Probably didn't need to use quite this much baker's twine. I like to conserve. I conserve most of my scraps. My scrap paper, I'm really good about it. Just don't like to waste anything. It's just so much fun to be able to have it as long as you can without adding to your supplies again. So I'm just going to clip and clip. And I want to slide this up just a touch. So cute. We're all done with the nugget box. This is the one we just created. And here's the one we started with the little nuggets inside. So I hope you enjoyed this part of our Welcome Baby class. And hopefully we can move on to part 3. Thank you.